Whatever you do, there is an effect. And everything that you do, God take notes of it. He has a big book that he writes everything into. Literally. Okay? Um, we don't live in isolation. Even if you live isolated, your words affect the universe. Literally. So, we have to be careful of our actions. Not only because they affect other people, but also that you're gonna get a reward for whatever you do, good or bad. There's a price to pay. There's effect. Alright, so no man is an island. It's very true. And like I said, even if you're on an island, God is still watching you. Okay. Once you come in contact with somebody else, every action they take, every word, every glance, everything you do, there's a consequence. The word of God say, before you hurt a child, tie a millstone around the neck, right, and jump in the sea. All right, just in summation, put a heavy stone around the neck. I'm gonna jump in the sea before you hurt a child. And you find, by the way, that people who hurt children, they hardly come by redemption. I don't know if you know anybody know any pedophiles who have repented. Anyway, that's another topic. But just know that your actions have consequences. Alright, so be very careful of the things you say. There's a ripple effect. The things you do, ripple effect. Okay? I know that nothing goes unnoticed by God. And oftentimes we do things, and we don't realize how far reaching the consequences are. And then when some things reach us, we can't do the maths. We don't realize that something that we did long ago, or something that somebody in your family did long ago, something that your parents did long ago, something that your brother did long ago, is not reaching you, good or bad. And you don't even you can't even think, you can't even calculate. You won't even think that it's something that this is the effect, this is the result, this is the consequences of somebody else's action or your actions years ago or even yesterday. And you don't understand how the universe works, or God world works. You don't think that deeply, right? You ever wonder how some people, I like, for example, let's say a bad person, how they can be blessed. You know what? Somebody probably in the past, God made a promise to somebody, or somebody prayed for that person, and God blessed them with a gift or something, a spirit that make them prosper, make whatever they do prosper. But they will pay for their evil anyway. But because God made a promise to this to somebody, or He blessed them with somebody, He's not an Indian giver. He doesn't give and take that easily. Especially when He speaks the word, He has to fulfill it. So you might find example in the Bible where God said to David, that there will never cease to be a man from his loins that sit on the throne of Israel, that not sit on the throne of Israel. And it was so. And guess who's on the throne today? The son of David himself, Jesus Christ. So He said it. So even though the descendants of David were not all good, not all good kings, they were allowed to stay on the throne and own the throne. And many, several times there were plots tried, to eliminate David's seed, just because of power, and it didn't work. There's always a man from David to sit on the throne, good or evil. There was always a king from David sitting on the throne. So But those kings, good or bad, they got their reward. Some are at rest now, some are in hell. So we have to be mindful that whatever we do, has a consequence, and God knows. God knows. We will pay for our actions. It's going to happen. You know, there will be a reward for our actions. And to saints, know that indeed the Bible says must store treasures in heaven. Is literally true. When you do the Lord's work, He's literally building a mansion for you in heaven, literally brick by brick. When you do things for God, there's a reward for your action. This life here is very brief, very temporary. And you can't really too focus on this life so much. It's so short, so quick. And only when you get to heaven you understand, or only when if the Lord comes back while you're alive, only then you understand what eternity is and how infinite that is. And you can't fuss over the pleasures of this life so much, and if you have to sacrifice some things. Look at Job, when God touched Job and hurt Job. Job said, even though he slay me, yet would I trust him. That Job understood who God was. He understood that, and understood life. How what kind of life this is. This is man is a vapor. Man is a little flowers that show up today and gone tomorrow. This is not it. So your action, saints, should be geared towards eternity. Be careful how much treasure you put up here on earth, because the Bible says where your treasure is, your heart is. If your heart is with the Lord, you're gonna want to think. You think eternal. You think, man, one day, this is coming to an end, and I want to make sure that my eternal investment is set, is good. You think about that, and you put treasures in heaven. You do what He says. You feed the hungry, you clothe the naked, you visit people in prison, spread the gospel. You do those things, and God adds to your mansion. Literally, the Bible said that there's a new heaven, a new earth, and New Jerusalem will descend out of heaven. So this New Jerusalem is going to be a place that is actually built, and in it is going to be the reward for the saints. There, we're going to live someplace. We're going to live in new heaven. We're going to actually live in houses, mansions, as Christ put it. So this city is going to descend with your pre-built home that you work so hard for. Likewise to the sinner. The more evil you do, the worse your reward is in hell. We heap up unto ourselves treasures, good or bad. Right, so let's not forget that there's a consequence to everything. If you move to the left, there's a consequence. Go to the right, there's a consequence. You spend time with God, there's a consequence. You ignore God, there's a consequence. Of course, you can't live like that, always stressing on that because you're just a man, you are just a woman, and you just mankind, But if you just simply live in obedience to the Lord, that will take care of itself. And He'll tell you what to do, and you do it. You have His word, just do it, just do the right thing. Do the maths, right? So that's it for this thought, I suppose. Yeah. And don't forget, Jesus Christ is Lord. There's no other way to eternal bliss. There's no other way to real happiness. And all good things come from God. Let's not forget that. If you reject the Lord, you're rejecting goodness. You can't say you reject the Lord and say that you're a good person. Impossible. Hell is an example of a place that has no good. Alright? Because Christ is not, that's not His abode. He doesn't live there. So if Jesus Christ is Lord, give your life to Him. Make Him Lord of your life. Obey Him. Thanks for listening.